I don't know, Drifts and Lifts. Is that wheel supposed to turn that far? What's up, guys? It's Drifts and Lifts here. All right, so today's episode, I'm gonna use it to show you guys the new flavor of gravy that I've been brewing up in the Drifts and Lifts Gravy Factory. So yeah, guys, we got Ted here, and over the last kind of 5-6 days, I've just been putting a lot of effort into this thing, just a lot of random things to get it in preparation for the drift event tomorrow. So we're having a drift event tomorrow. By the time you guys are watching this video, I'll actually be drifting this thing. So yeah, I've been doing like a handful of random little things to get it ready. As you guys can see, it's got a buttload of steering angle now. So I'm gonna do kind of a walk around and show you guys all the new mods that I've done on Ted here. I apologize, I haven't done any videos of the mods. I've done videos of all these mods before, and it's just, it's kind of tedious doing the same videos of the same mods. You guys have already seen it, so I figured I'd just, get it done and then show you kind of the finished product. This car is the perfect car to make into a drift missile Volvo that I'm gonna abuse and have a lot of fun with. So I'll start with the mods, guys. So last time you saw Ted, he was basically a bone stock turbo wagon, grandpa spec. A lot of random little maintenance things need to be done. I was pretty haggard. I've literally just been picking away at it. So as you guys can see, it's got a whole buttload of steering angle now. I haven't dialed in the alignment, but I did install my BC coilovers. I also got a set of knuckles modded by my good friend Jake. So you guys all know Jake. He is one of my fellow Volvo drifting members from the Swed Sleds crew. But yeah, so he cut like whatever, an inch off the knuckles. He has a jig that he makes knuckles with, so I just told him to throw him in the jig and should be good to go. So good amount of steering angle. I think we probably increased it 10 degrees over the factory angle. It's got a bunch more power upgrades, as you guys can see under the hood here. I've been doing a little bit of work as well. A lot of deletes. So I deleted the idle air control valve. I deleted a bunch of little random things like the windshield washer fluid and the charcoal canister. I did all the AC. I got rid of all that stuff, so that was a big weight reduction, probably 60 pounds from the front of the car. As you can see, there's some white going on, so I tried to freshen up this engine bay. I'm actually in the car wash right now, so I'm going to be spraying out this engine bay because it looks like someone's dipstick fell out once upon a time and literally covered this engine bay in oil. The thing is absolutely disgusting. But as you guys can see, I took this valve cover off. I did an A-cam. So I had an A-cam kicking around. I actually pulled from Edna. So I threw that in there. It seemed to give it a nice little power upgrade. It feels a little more peppy in the top end and that kind of thing. As you guys can see, it's got a manual boost controller in it right now. It's a Turbo Smart. We're running about 13 PSI, kind of the max on the stock injectors. I took away the PCV, the tube that actually goes from the PCV box into the intake. I'm not running it pulling vacuum anymore because a lot of the times what happens is I'll be drifting and the oil's sloshing around in the motor and then it almost kind of sucks up through the PCV. And I've had a lot of the times, like you'll see these turbos are covered in oil. A lot of the time that is because it's actually sucking oil through the tube and then into the intake and it's kind of it's kind of spitting it around. That's why a lot of the time you'll see these intercoolers full of oil, and it's not always because the turbo's blown. A lot of the time it's actually just sucking oil through that PCV tube that used to go over here and into the intake. So I got rid of that. It's just running the PCV to atmosphere now, so that's not a big deal. That's still okay. As you can see, I put the strut tower brace. I had one of these kicking around. This is an old IPD one, so these aren't, I don't think they make them anymore, but kind of a cool feature. I'm glad that I've had so many random old Volvos and I've kind of collected a good amount of cool little parts off them. So that's all good. The engine bays, it's tidied up. I do need to wash it, like I said, but as we head back to the car, guys, so let's take a look in the interior. I started stripping stuff out, and here's where I'm gonna show you guys why I'm going to be, using this as a drift wagon and not having any cares if I destroy it. So let's take a look up there, guys. So as you can see, we got some really bad rust. And it actually goes all along the seam. I think if I kept on peeling, I think we'd find a little more. And then as we go down here, there's a hole right there, and we're also getting some holes, sorry guys, right here. And I think if I pulled the seat, there's probably gonna be some more. And then if we go back here, I actually haven't stripped the carpet out, but there's a ginormous hole under this carpet. If I climb under the car, I actually put my fist through it. So let's head over there. And honestly guys, like I'm putting work into such a junker wagon, but it's actually, you know, the motor runs good, and I'm gonna take you guys for a little pull after, once I show you this stuff here. But let's take another look here. So here's where a pretty bad section. Big hole right here, and it definitely kind of will, it'll kind of go under the, yeah, see I can kind of just pick it away. It's gonna crust off. Oh yeah, so a nice big hole there, and as you guys can see, it actually into the frame rail area. So what I think has been happening, because the frame rail actually has some pretty bad rust on it too, water and leaves and stuff got in there, and they've been sitting, and it just slowly eats the car from the inside out essentially. As we go back under the seat, I can see a little bit of rust there. This floorboard on the passenger side rear actually seems okay. And as far as the back goes, there is a hole in the trunk. Sorry, where the spare tire is, there's a hole there. And that's kind of, for the most part, all the rust on this car. Sorry, I shouldn't say that, because there is some in the fender well. There's also a good amount starting right here. And the battery tray is really bad too. If I take a look. Yeah, so as you can see, it's rusting through pretty bad. But, you know, that's all right, guys, because this car, I'm gonna use it, and you know, like most of my cars, it's not gonna last probably not much longer than a couple years max. I take all the parts and I put it in another car, and that's kind of the way of the world. So yeah, what else am I gonna show you guys? I just did cut springs on the rear. It's not really anything special. I'm going to put the BC Racing coilovers in the rear as well. I just didn't have time to do that. So it's, you know, it's kind of bouncy, but it'll be good enough for the event. There's still an IPD sway bar in the rear. And one thing I want to mention is I took the sway bar out of the front, just because the BC Racing coilovers are, they're fairly stiff. But what I noticed is there is a little bit of lean now, and I actually like that because it makes the front end bite harder when you're cornering. And then I have the sway bar in the rear, so there's not a whole lot of body roll in the rear, and it kind of makes a really grippy setup up front, and then the tail can kind of hang out and follow along. So we're gonna test it out and see how it feels at the track. I think it's gonna be all right. As you guys can see, I put a boost gauge in here. Like I said, we're running about 13 pounds. I got the Momo steering wheel hub. I did a ball joint. The ball joints were pretty blown on this thing. Oil change, tranny fluid. I put some new tranny fluid in it. We are going to be manual swapping this car, and me and Jake were actually talking. We are going to do a how-to manual swap video for you guys when we get around to that. So that should be in the next kind of month or so. We're going to be doing that. As you guys can see, I did a sunroof delete panel. I know it looks absolutely disgusting. There's just silicone everywhere. That's kind of the theme of this car though, guys. It's I'm kind of going for the red and white Canadian just drift beater wagon. The theme of the car is going to be red and white, like Canada colors. So, you know, there's tons of dirt all over it. This thing, maybe I should wash it, maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. I'm not going to wash it yet. I'm kind of going with the disgusting Ted the Cigarette look right now. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it as far as new mods for the wagon. Yeah, we got, you know, I think as far as future upgrades, the manual swap, coilovers, maybe a better intercooler or something. And also, I want to mention one thing, guys. This car ended up being negative money. It cost me negative money. So this is going to be the best performing free car you're ever going to get. And basically how I did that is I sold the nice clean headlights that were in this car. The frames weren't bent. Everything was all pretty straight. I sold that to a good friend of mine in Sweden, and he basically gave me what the car was, what I bought the car for, 400 bucks. And then I put these because they were bent and welded on and kind of weird, so they still look okay, but I didn't want to sell that to, you know, a good buddy in Sweden, have him open up the box and they're kind of wonky and bent or whatever. So I still have lights and you can't really tell that they're bent, but I sold, you know, the good ones and made a profit off it. So at the end of the day, this car is actually free. So $400 wagon, you know, 400 profit, and then yeah, free car, and I'm pretty stoked that you know, I'm gonna be able to do some really cool slides in a free car. So it does need a tie rod inner. The tie rod inners are a little bit clunky, but I'm not gonna get around to that before the event. As far as the interior goes though, I cleaned it out pretty good. It had so many cigarettes and disgusting things in here. It was just brutal. So this red interior, I'm actually going to be keeping the rear seats just because it looks so cool in here. The red checker, you never see this, and the fact that it's actually in decent shape is really cool. So I'm not going to strip the rear seats. You know, it's turbo, so we have enough power to kind of get around that. It's got, you know, we probably already lost 200 pounds of stuff just with, you know, gutting out the AC and the carpets and the sunroof and that. So I'll start it up for you guys. It sounds pretty good. It's running open downpipe right now. So it's just your typical, you know, open downpipe Volvo sound. But we'll go for a rip in it real quick here. Oh yeah. Now it's really funny because the big holes in the floor over there, when you're driving the car, you can really hear that open downpipe because it's literally coming through the floor. All right, guys, let's go for a rip in this thing. All right, guys, go for a quick boot. I'll just show you kind of how quick this thing is. For a free car, it's definitely not slow. The motor runs really healthy. It makes pretty much full boost and pulls strong all the way to redline. So I'll just get in. I'll just get to a kind of a straight, nice road that we can kind of give it a little pull on. All right, guys, so this is first gear. Here, I'll load it up. I'll load it up in first real quick. All right, ready? Load it, let go. Oh yeah, we got fuel cut there. All right, guys, so I'm running just a tad too much boost. I did leave the fuel cut solenoid in. In the LH 2.2 cars of the 1980s, they have a fuel cut solenoid built into the ECU, and it actually has a vacuum line that goes up under the dash. I left that on because essentially you don't want to be, if it's fuel cutting from overboost, you don't want to be running more boost than that because it's going to run the car lean and that kind of thing. So, but yeah, so as you can see, it pulls pretty good. It puts you in your seat. This stupid auto tranny is just so anemic. It really kind of is a parasite on the whole power thing. But yeah, once we manual swap this, it's going to be an awesome car. I can already tell. And I think it's actually going to drift completely fine with the automatic transmission. So yeah, here, if I punch it right now. Oh yeah, she's quick. Yeah, it's got power. That's all the way up to 100 kilometers an hour. With this A-cam, boost comes in just a little bit later, but it definitely pulls better to the top end compared to the T-cam. So I'm happy with it, guys. You guys are going to be seeing a really cool drift video of this car coming up real soon. So stay tuned. All right, guys, so I'm pretty stoked to drift this car tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. I haven't really hit the track in a couple months now. So yeah, I'm just kind of excited for, you know, wagon drifts again. This is where the channel started. This is, you know, how I kind of got into the whole thing. It was drifting a wagon into a pile of garbage. So I'm back in another beater wagon, and we're ready to have some fun. So that's basically a wrap up of today's video, guys. Also, you'll notice I cleaned out my garage really nice. It's sorted a lot better, and we can actually do work on cars in here and stuff now. So that's really cool. Dan at Post Haste Performance, shout out to him. He actually just welded up the ITB setup on Miss Huff. So we're going to be reinstalling that and getting Miss Huff back on the road, and you guys will be seeing some videos of her pretty soon. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Give me some, you know, stuff you want to see on the wagon. You know, cool mods or this and that, or, you know, types of drifting. What I love about this car is that it is a beater. It has rust. It's definitely not clean. It's got really high kilometers. So, you know, if I want to take it on a dirt road and film some really cool stuff there, no shame. You know, I can do whatever the hell I want in it, and I don't think even you guys are going to shame me because, as you can see, this one would have been destined to the scrapper if I didn't pick it up. So I'm gonna get some really good use out of it, and yeah, it's gonna be a street car. You know, I'll probably end up patching the rust just because I don't want rocks shooting at my legs when I'm drifting and stuff like that, because as you guys could see, it was in the fender well and it does go into the cabin, which is kind of sketchy actually. That's not really what you want. It shoots water at your legs when you're, you know, driving in the rain and stuff like that. So you know, I got welder buddies and we can kind of patch stuff up. It's not going to be perfect, but at least it'll have, you know, some structure and be all good. So that's about it, guys. Like and subscribe for sweaty Volvo balls. Peace out.